What's up, trade crew? Welcome back to the HVAC R&D podcast. And tonight it's time for another riding solo episode. So the Ramblin Rhyno is breaking down my post AHR thoughts. So let's get it, y'all. What's up, trade crew? The AHR Expo is officially a wrap. What a week it was. Live shows in the podcast pavilion, live shows from the floor, getting the opportunity to moderate a workforce development panel. That was so cool. Thank you so much for the opportunity, AHR. And again, getting to spend time walking students through the showroom floor for another year in a row. Getting to see so many people face to face, that's truly what this industry is about. To everyone that came out to support me and Kristen in the show, shook our hands, grabbed selfies, or just said we listen every week, thank you so much. To the friends I missed because we're all sprinting across the convention center for 3 straight days, we'll catch up soon. I hate I missed you, but you know what? We got plenty of time. HVAC R&D has always been about one thing, and that's collaboration over competition. Contractors, distributors, manufacturers, reps, we're all better when we work together and challenge each other to raise the standard of this trade. A huge thank you to our sponsors who help make this show possible. Live Switch, JPL Flex, Diversitech, RLS Rapid Locking System, True Nature Meats, and a very, very special trade crew welcome to the family with Resideo and Mann+Hummel. If you believe in growing the trades the right way, you're in the right place. Let's get it going, y'all. So what's up, trade crew? Welcome back to another episode of the HVAC R&D podcast. I am your host, Ryden Atzenhofer. I am also your solo guest this evening. I've been extremely busy the last couple of weeks. I have several shows in the hopper. I just haven't had a chance to get them fully edited because I'm also working to finalize and finish all of the AHR segments. So this will be kind of my personal solo wrap up from AHR. And then I have one more episode to come with the one and only trade wife, my wife, Kristen. She and I are going to talk through, a lot of our experiences from AHR, including the entire road trip all the way from North Carolina out to Vegas and back. A lot of fun times, a lot of frustrating times, a lot of funny different things. And we'll talk about all the crazy things that went wrong and the things that also went right. But she and I had a really good time. It was also fun to be able to take the puppy dogs with us so that we didn't have to board them. So it was really a true traveling band the entire trip. Look forward to that one. Hopefully I will have it next week. That's the plan anyway. She and I just have both been burning it at both ends between work and a lot of other things. So look forward to that one, though. It'll be a lot of fun. But really, I also wanted to talk not only just AHR, but also wanted to talk, some things that I really want to get implemented this year and that I'm worked really hard to spend a lot of extra hours in the evening to really get some of this stuff set up and ready to go. And, really there truly is a bit of a evolution to HVAC R&D this year. That's really the plan and was the plan for a long time. One of the biggest things for me this year isn't just what was happening at AHR, but it's also what's happening around all of the social media scene and all of the things that I want R&D to become over the coming years. And having just celebrated 5 years of the show back in November, I sat down and really wanted to take stock of where the show came from, where the show's been, but also where I want it to go for the next 5 years or so, and even further. This has become something that I never knew I would end up doing, but it's become something I'm extremely passionate about, and I have a lot of fun doing it. I also feel that there's a need for the things that I bring to the social media scene as there are for every other show that's out there. I think we all have our place. Honestly, there's a ton of shows that are starting right now, and I think that's a very positive thing for our industry. We need more people talking about the trades and getting people involved in them. We need more people that want to come do the things we do. And the more we get in front of them and the more we show them what our world is like, the more people I think will understand that the trades are a positive future and something that more people should look at doing. One of the first things I wanted to talk about is, we've always had the vendor hub on the show, but I feel after so many years of looking at how things are and looking at the way I want that to really be treated, I am renaming the vendor hub the resource hub. The whole reason behind it is to have resources that listeners can use to either find out information, to grow their own businesses, to find things that will help them grow their business or grow themselves personally. Some of these things you may want to try at a discount. That's a positive if you can. I want this to be a resource and a tool for the people that listen to the show. That's really the whole point of it. So make sure to constantly check back. I'm going to be working to add a whole bunch of new things to that this year. I want people to have more places they can go with trusted potential partners to help them grow their business, as well as even things that can help them, in their own lifestyle. That was one of the reasons I got involved with True Danger Meats. Is food is getting more and more expensive, and it's kind of nice to be able to just order some things that you can have in the freezer and cook when you need them. As I continue to find other things and other resources that make sense, I will definitely add them to the resource hub. That's what it's there for. And there's also things such as the discount for Better Help. That was the original discount that I got for the show. That was one of the first things that ever came to mind. And especially, we started the show during COVID when a bunch of us were probably having some gut check mental problems and different things. And it changed the whole industry. It changed a lot of our outlooks on things. I think mental health really came to the forefront because of some of the events that were happening in that time frame. And there's a lot of other influencers out there that have focused heavily on mental health, and I think it's very positive and it's a good thing. Take care of yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. But like I said, the Resource Hub is meant to be there for you guys. I want you to be able to go and find things that matter. If there's things that you need help or you're looking for that maybe you think we should add, reach out to me, reach out to Chris, and let's see if we can find a means to get other things in there that you guys are looking for that can help you with your business, help you personally, and things of that nature. Bigger picture, podcast is going to keep doing its thing. The Resource Hub is going to grow exponentially. That is the plan for the year. I've also heavily bringing back the Ramblin Rhyno column, as we'll talk about some more as I get into the show. You'll also see there's been an increase in the social media presence and output because there are a lot of things that I want to get out there, and I've worked really hard to have things set up and ready to go so that things will continue to move forward, and it helps me kind of get some thoughts and some ideas out there a little bit more than I was in the past. So that's really what the plan is for this year. Talking about AHR 2026 in Vegas, and in some ways kind of became a place where a lot of this started to come to life in real time for me. And, that week really started earlier in the year as I was trying to plan things that were coming out and where we were going to go. But, getting to the show, which I'll be honest, I thought that I had underplanned and I was going to have time to do more things than I did. And no, I did not. I was extremely busy. The whole weekend started with the HVAC Tactical Awards, which this is the biggest it's ever been. It continues to grow every year. Ben, Rebecca, Efren, the entire team from HVAC Tactical do a fantastic job with the event. This was the first year that I think it's been so big that there were a lot of fresh faces I didn't know. I love seeing where it's going. I love seeing how it helps this industry. There were a lot of friends that were nominated, a lot of friends that were winners. A couple of them that I wanted to highlight was I was extremely excited to see Megan win Lady of the Trade, seeing Adam win Best Social Content, that's Wolf of HVAC. I loved seeing my buddy Tyler Driesbach nominated as a hidden gem, even though he didn't win. It was just really awesome to get to see him there. If you don't know a lot about him, please go back and check out his episode with me. I think it was his first one that he did out in the social media scene, and just a really cool episode to talk to somebody that's not been in the trades for a super long period of time, but has really just found his home in the trades and has worked really, really hard to develop his skills, not just in the field, but also his skills to be able to showcase them and show people what he can do and how good of a job you can do in the industry. Trade crew, I'd like to introduce you to my friends over at LiveSwitch. If you haven't heard of them, they're developing a platform specifically for trades contractors and service professionals like yourselves. So picture this. Mrs. Jones calls the office. Her furnace is making some kind of strange sound. Normally, you would just have to roll the truck and go see what's going on. But instead, with LiveSwitch, you can jump on a video call right then and there with no app with Mrs. Jones. You can see things from her perspective on a fully functional video call. You can take screenshots, you can record, and you can deliver a different experience that no other contractor is giving their homeowners right now. If you're worried about it working with stuff you're already using, you know what? It integrates perfectly into Jobber, Service Titan, House Call Pro, any of the stuff that you guys are already using. It makes it a seamless transition to add this new tool to your arsenal. Go to HVACR&D.com, visit the vendor hub, set up your live switch demo today. You can also click the link down in the description below, or you can find the link to the demo in my bio. Thanks everybody for listening to the show. Check out Live Switch. I promise you it is an app for you. It gives you an ability to do something completely different for homeowners that no one else is doing right now. You guys won't be disappointed. Go schedule your demo today. All right, IAQ folks, this one's for the contractors and the trade crew that are looking to level up their indoor air quality installs and make life easier in the process. The new Honeywell Home Whole Home Dehumidifier is a high-performance IAQ system designed with input from HVAC partners like yourselves. The revolutionary tri-directional outlet design with horizontal, vertical, and right-angle options speeds up installation and integrates seamlessly. To learn more about the Honeywell Home Whole Home Dehumidifier, head over to the HVAC R&D Vendor Hub and click the Resideo Honeywell Home link for more details. Lifeline Tech of the Year. Can't say enough about how good of a dude Jason Norman at HVAC J is. Solid, awesome to see him win. Gary McCready, HVAC Know-It-All Podcast of the Year. I mean, who can argue with that one? The guy's a legend of the podcast scene. He probably should have won it already. It's about time. I wasn't nominated this year, but that's okay. There's plenty more years to come. I know I've still got some stripes to earn. Overall, it really was such a cool experience. Got to have a good time. It was great to see my buddy Matt Waxer as well as his wife, who we rarely get to see. We hadn't got to see Chrissy since Chicago. So it was great to get to spend a little bit of time with her as well. But, the Tactical Awards is what always sets the mood for the rest of AHR. And it was big and it was busy. And I will tell you that is exactly how things were on the floor when we got there. It was go, go, go from the opening of the doors for AHR this year. I started it off with the first show was with Jessica from RLS. RLS has been a partner and a friend to the show for many years. This is the first time that Jess and I actually got to sit down and do a show together. As always, she's a great, fantastic personality. If you want to know a bit more about the show, please go listen to it. It was episode 173. There's also a Ramblin Rhyno article out about it that you can find on HVACRD.com or through LinkedIn. It's called Pressing Forward, Field Notes from AHR with RLS's Jessica Slaughter. And in that, we kind of go a little bit more in depth about some other thoughts I had post the show. And, we just kind of talk about life beyond the torch, seeing is believing, how it can be, how press is really something that kind of gets you an A2L safety net. It's also something that levels you up faster. And we talked about the long game for where press can really be going. After that, I got to spend some time with Jamie Quanrude from Resideo, and she is the Learning Solutions Manager from Resideo. I had gone to the Resideo training back in 2012. She and I talked about that on the show, and we talked about how my experience was versus the experience that they're trying to grow their training into, and they want to start building and developing training that is based on where your job is going as opposed to just the job you have right now. So please go listen to Jamie's show. It's episode 174. The article for it is called The Pro is the Hero, Field Notes from AHR with Resideo's Jamie Quanrude. Again, you can find that on HVACRD.com as well as on LinkedIn. Next, I sat down on Tuesday with Todd Titus of HARDI, and Todd is the Director of State Government Affairs at HARDI. And if you don't know what HARDI is or hadn't heard of it before, it is a massive organization full of distributors and manufacturers, and it is really about supporting distribution and manufacturers and helping them move the needle forward for their contractors and their customers. And a lot of what Todd is confronting is all of the regulation that we're seeing nationwide. Every single state's different. He called it the 400 front war. We talked about a lot of things that are going on in California, going on in New York, this has really become the chemistry class nobody signed up for. But there's truly so many different discussions about different types of refrigerants, from CO2 to propane, ammonia, all of it. And really the point of that show was truly that your voice is the most powerful tool in the truck. And if you want to help influence change, you need to be part of things like the HARDI Grassroots Advocacy Center. And it's a tool that's there, and it's incredibly easy for you to speak up. You don't have to be a policy expert. You just have to be willing to share your story. So go and find that, and then we talked about bridging the gap between the manufacturer, the distributor, the contractor. Todd's episode was number 175. His article is Why Your Story Matters, Navigating State HVAC Policy with Todd Titus of HARDI. And then the last show, which was the very first show I've ever recorded live walking through a booth. I've not released video of all that yet because I'm still learning to be a video editor. Audio editing, got that down. Been doing it for 5 years, plus a lot of years before that. But video, it's still a new frontier, and I'm getting there. But there's some great shorts to come from that one. I just haven't dropped them all yet. But I had the pleasure of interviewing Kirk Wilkes, who is the president and CEO of Mann+Hummel. It's also kind of fun to learn that Mann+Hummel has such a huge footprint in North Carolina. I only had to go to Las Vegas to discover that, but that's kind of how these things work. He walked me through a lot of their different kinds of media, a lot of their different kinds of products, and how they're going to market, as well as some of their new products. He had me jump on a filter to show how strong it was. Trust me, rhinos can't jump, especially white rhinos can't jump. But I did manage to jump up onto the filter. I also had a nice little shimmy back and forth that Kristen has laughed at every time she has watched the video. So don't worry, you guys will get to laugh at that soon once I get it put out there for you. Kirk was full of information about filtration. He was episode 176, and his article is called The Science of Clean Air, Jumping on Filters with Kirk Wilkes of Mann+Hummel. Again, available on HVACRD.com and LinkedIn. And we talked about the triangle of filtration, capacity, efficiency, and pressure drop. Obviously, there's a little discussion in the article about my jump test that we just talked about. Another thing that was key for him and part of the show that came out was really they want to design products that have the best and most efficient total cost of ownership to the company that's using their product. And that makes a whole lot of sense. We also talked about sustainability in the future and how they're working to build and design products that have lower footprints and are able to recycle, because we all know we change filters in and out. Most of them go in the trash. Is there a way that they can develop more products that can be recycled? And when we talk, as usual, as collaboration over competition, which became part of every one of these discussions. And final reflection of my conversation with Kirk was that, he gets it. He understands that while he may be running a global empire, the real magic happens when a technician opens up a box at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, and he's got a product that works as advertised. So all 4 of those shows were fantastic. Please go back and listen to them if you haven't. Go check out the articles and get some more information. I think it is the most shows officially that I've done at AHR. Everything live, no real edits to be able to be done, because you're kind of doing it as you get started. And once you start, you're rolling. There's no stumbling. You just got to do it. So live, no edits, no safety net, real conversations, real reactions. And it's the adrenaline and the pressure of doing these shows that's the fun when you get to do them in front of a lot of people. So one thing that I did differently this year was I wanted to make sure that these episodes didn't just live as an episode. I wanted to make sure they had something to go with them. And that's really where the articles and bringing back Ramblin Rhyno as a column has gone, as well as me being able to use it to put other information out there to talk about life in distribution and life as a contractor in the past. It's always been a part of who I am, and it's a way to bring it back in a big way. So it's to give you guys some deeper perspective on shows, to kind of bring out some other conversation I have when I get to listen back to the show and really, digest it for myself. And it really kind of lets the show live as itself, and then an article that lives in itself, but it kind of gives them a nice little bit of cohesion and discussion. And I hope that you guys will enjoy all of that as the year goes on. I then also got to do the RLS booth takeover. What's up, trade crew? You've heard the buzz. You've seen the press gang at every single AHR. Contractors across the country are ditching their torches for RLS press fittings, and they're not looking back. Why? Because RLS lets you finish faster, safer, and cleaner. From rooftops to mechanical rooms, Crawl spaces and attics, it's a press and go solution that's leak tested, UL recognized, and proudly made in America. Make the switch to RLS and take the heat out of your installs, literally. RLS, rapid locking system, press forward and press on. Trade Crew, if you're looking for ways to not just install equipment, but actually grow your business, this next one is worth a listen. Built for pros and powered by Pro IQ Services, the new Honeywell Home Elite Pro Thermostat is more than just a thermostat. It's a growth engine for your business. The sleek range of smart thermostats helps you deliver next-level comfort and convenience and stand out in every home. If you want to learn more about the Honeywell Home Elite Pro lineup, visit the Resideo Honeywell Home link inside the HVAC R&D Vendor Hub and check out the full range for yourself. And I don't think all of this has come out from RLS yet. I'll be happy when they start rolling out because some of them were pretty funny. But essentially, I had a whiteboard that said, "Tell me your crawl space confession," and I went chasing contractors down the different aisles of the South Hall trying to get them to give me a crawl space confession on TV. And we got a few of them. I even got a guy from one of the booths across from us that was with a different company. He just wanted to come share a story about being in an attic, so that one will come out as well. I had a great time getting to meet Rodolfo Vargas. If you don't know him, his handle is justwork_HVAC, Joshua Noel. Joshua also gave me a crawl space confession, but he is an instructor in Texas in HVAC technology at the Dallas Career Institute. We got to speak off camera and off mic, and I'm proud of all the different things that he's trying to bring to light and how he's trying to bring another generation into this trade. I'm trying to remember, I think, what was his handle? So _HVAC Noel, HVACNOEL. And I think he is working very, very hard to try to help bring a new generation of kids into the trade in a place where he's underfunded and underappreciated. So if there's anybody that's interested in maybe trying to do some things to reach out to help him, if you're in Texas or in the Dallas area, please reach out to me and I will get you in contact with him. And let's see if we can help this guy and his kids out. One of the other really interesting things I got to do at the show was on the drive out, I was asked to step in and moderate a panel. And that was something I had talked about with the AHR before, but hadn't really had the chance for us to sit down and develop what we wanted to do or do something. Out of the blue, the opportunity came and I grasped it. For a minute, I was kind of nervous about doing it, but I'm very glad that I did. I got to step into the shoes of Dominic from the National Comfort Institute, who was originally supposed to moderate the Next Gen HVACR panel about building the future of the trades. Unfortunately, the weather, ironically, back home in very eastern Tennessee, close to where I grew up, was not very conducive to him being able to get to the show, thanks to about 14 to 16 inches of snow that fell during the time from Kristen and I leaving to get to Vegas. That all showed up as soon as we left. We made it, but unfortunately, a lot of people in that part of the world didn't. Dominic was one of them. I was able to step in and fill his shoes, if that's even possible. I say that, but I think I did okay. But it was a lot of fun. And, I had some great panelists in Paige Knowles, Lauren Morris, Leilani Orr, Anthony Wu, and Max Rohr. All of them brought fantastic different perspective to the discussion and the topics. It was pretty cool that the main photo from that ended up just recently being featured in the ACHR News, which I know I posted a picture of that from Mr. Bill Spoon the other day on my Instagram page. Because, as a kid, I grew up in my dad's shop looking at ACHR News magazines. I never imagined that I would be in one in any shape or form, even just a picture. I never thought about that being something that was a possibility at any time in my career. That was a really cool thing. Keeping with the theme, I did also get an article put out about that just came out this week. It's called Next Gen HVACR, Building the Future of the Trades. You can find it on HVACRD.com and on LinkedIn. And I talk about, again, some of my perspective and getting to discuss different things post-show. So I talked about the view from the middle because in a lot of cases, distribution is the view from the middle. I'm between the manufacturer and I'm between the contractor. So I see things sometimes from a different perspective, but I also have the contractor perspective because that's where I came from. I talked about bridging the gap from the classroom to the job site, recruiting the next generation, and it's really not what you think, because it's not. I think a lot of the things that used to recruit people in the past have changed drastically over the last 10 to 20 years. And it's really important that we now show people what this trade is and what a day-to-day could actually be like. And they get to see that through our social channels. They get to hear it through these podcasts. So I think that's truly something that's helping to change how we recruit. Talked about mentorship, and it really is about the long game. I've got, some more things themed around mentorship over the next coming months that I want to talk about and write about. So you'll see more of that stuff, but it really is the long game. Technology and the measured technician, the power of collaboration, which has always been a main thing, and then some of my final thoughts. But it truly was a cool experience. You can actually go watch the whole thing if you go to the AHR Expo website, and you can look at the videos of all the panels that happened and some of the different trainings. So that's one of them. It's about an hour long. It was at 8:30 in the morning. The room kind of got more full as we went on, because that's an early morning, and AHR will get you in the evening sometimes. There's a lot of things going on. And then lastly, Wednesday, I got to participate yet again in the workforce development tours, which is one of the highlights every year. And I get to spend time with students that are looking to really build a career in the trades. Sometimes they're high school age, sometimes they're older, mid-20s, sometimes they're even older, and they're changing careers depending on if we've got high school kids or trade school kids. It just kind of depends on what's going to be there. This year, I also had the privilege of our buddy, the HVAC doctor, Mr. Matt Waxer, joining us for the tour. He's been wanting to get involved for a couple of years, and I said, buddy, why don't you just come with me? And if you enjoy it, then next year you can probably host your own group and have at it. Matt and I are definitely cut from the same cloth when it comes to wanting to help bring a new generation into this trade that has given both of us so much in life. So we started the tour with a trip to the Carrier booth, which a lot of you guys know that I currently sell Carrier brand products, and on the distribution side, I took kids through kind of the residential, some of the light commercial stuff, and then Doc took a group of kids through the heavier industrial commercial and the chillers. And then we went from Carrier over to Diversitech, and not only is Diversitech a sponsor of the show, but Al and all of the people there absolutely rolled out the carpet for this group of kids. It's probably the best booth visit I've ever had as part of workforce development. They got to mess around with Hillmore tools. We got to talk them through all the different types of products that Diversitech makes. We got to talk about the history of Diversitech, how they started as a pad company and just have continued to evolve exponentially from there. It really was a cool thing to get to see them really buy into the point of workforce development. The point of the workforce development program is to show these kids that there's more to this industry than just turning a wrench. And there's more things out there that they will use on a day-to-day basis. You go do an install, you're using products from half the time 20, 30, 40 different companies to get that job done, because you're using all kinds of different things, from your equipment to people like Diversitech, where you're getting your pads and your float switches, some of the tools that you're working with, your surge protection, your line hide, your controls, depending on if you're using a stat like the old silos over here, which we've talked about a few times. We got to show these kids that there's so many different things that are in this industry. And again, just Diversitech, thank you. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, seriously. This episode of the HVAC R&D podcast is brought to you by Diversitech, the one-stop source for contractors who want to simplify every job. Whether you're stocking up on install supplies, service parts, thermostats, controls, or digging into the legendary tool line from Hillmore, Diversitech has you covered. They're not just a parts supplier. They help build solutions for HVAC pros, offering pads, condensate management gear, electrical parts, replacement components, premium tools that make installs, service calls, and maintenance faster, cleaner, and more professional. Partnering with Diversitech means fewer trips back to the supply house, more time on the job, and less chance of callbacks because you're using the right gear from the start. If you want to work smarter, stay stocked up, and show up for every job ready, Diversitech is a trade pro's best friend. Now, trade crew, depending on when you're hearing this, you may have already seen, or soon you will see, the president of Mann+Hummel had me literally jump on one of their filters during the AHR Expo. And let me tell you, rhinos don't just jump on anything. The thin line Ultramax frameless HVAC mini pleat filter is built for commercial and industrial applications where medium to high efficiency filtration truly matters. It delivers MERV 13 performance with low pressure drop to help maximize energy savings, plus high dust holding capacity for extended service life. And there's no traditional plastic, metal, or cardboard frame, reducing environmental impact while still delivering serious durability. If it can handle a Rhino, it can handle your job site. Learn more through the Mann+Hummel link in the HVAC R&D Vendor Hub today. After that, we went to SureTape. I have some good friends over there as well. SureTape is another North Carolina-based company. One of the most important things that SureTape will teach you is that the squeegee is a very important product and a very important tool when you're taping. It also comes in very handy if you need to scrape the ice off your windshield or your mirror, as you guys have seen me do from time to time. Tiffany from SureTape did a great demo with the kids, kind of showing them different kinds of tapes that we use in the industry. And then we went from SureTape back over to my friends at Resideo, and they showed them some of the newer smart thermostats that are coming out to the industry, showed them what their new whole home dehumidifier and some of their other products. And from there, we take them back and we drop them back off with the workforce development team, and they have a whole other panel of guests and experts that talk about the trade, and these kids get to ask questions. And it's probably, as much as I love doing the podcast and doing the other things, what is probably the most fulfilling part of AHR is getting to show these kids that there's a very bright future in the trades, because most people won't tell them that anymore. You know, I grew up, even though I came from a trades family, everyone's like, oh, you got to go to college, got to get that 4-year degree. You know, luckily I didn't have debt coming out of the 4-year degree because I worked in the trade the whole time. But I mean, half of these kids now, that they'll go and rack up $60,000 worth of debt for a degree that won't get them more than a $30,000 a year job anyway. And then they're just stuck. They're absolutely stuck. Things like the trades can change that. You can go into the trades with a 2-year associate's degree, get a job, and you can be making $60, $80, $100 more $1,000 by the time you're in your mid-20s, sometimes even sooner. The school guidance counselors won't ever tell you that. So tell your kids that the trades are a good thing, because they are. Most of you guys that listen to the show, you know it, so you've probably told your kids that. But for those of you that hopefully are listening to the show that maybe you're thinking about the trades or have, you know, children that eventually or will eventually have children that should probably go into the trades, man, the trades are fantastic. It's given me everything in my life. It's given many of my friends everything in their life. Don't knock it. Don't knock the trades, because we keep the world moving. If there's one thing that's not coming for most of our hands-on jobs, AI is not replacing HVAC techs. It's not replacing plumbers. It might replace some of the tech support guys eventually. Sorry about that, fellas, because some of these learning softwares and learning AIs for field troubleshooting are changing the game. But the trades are a positive. Get your kids in the trades. Let's help get this new generation into the trades. If we don't build the next generation, none of this matters. We have to be the driving force to get more people in the trades, and we have to be the face of why the trades are a good and positive thing. That's the kind of stuff that doesn't always show up in a highlight reel, but it sticks with you. And honestly, these are the moments that I've really been trying to capture more of, not just on the mic, but, you know, writing and on social. When you step back from it all, the awards, the shows, the booth, you start to see what AHR really is. And AHR is people. It's not just equipment, it's not specs, but it's relationships and it's conversations. And everything about AHR can be a personal growth moment, and it can kind of give you some personal growth reflection from being an attendee to being a contributor to being a voice. I've been able to experience all of those, and it's when you get the opportunity to do those different things, it's your responsibility to be the positive face of the trade to the industry. And with that in mind, like I said, you know, I've done a lot of things to really kind of help push the media engagement of this show to try to get more things out there. And that truly is intentional. You know, I've got more things to say than just what gets said on the podcast. I have more thoughts to share that I want people to see and be able to talk about and engage with. That's why I want to write more. That's the reason I want more social posts. And if you're seeing this new content, please like it, share it, comment on it, get involved. And that's really how we grow the community together. That's how the trade crew continues to grow. But it's also how we keep the collaborative conversations moving forward so that we can keep building a better community of the trades. And kind of as I start to wrap this up, like I said, please, if you haven't checked out the Resource Hub, it's live, it's growing. It's going to be the place where you can go find tools, partners, solutions that matter and not just hear about them. HVAC R&D is not just a podcast anymore. It is the trade crew's community. It's a platform. It's a place for conversation, resources, perspective. AHR is always going to be a big part of that. The Tactical Awards will always be a big part of that. But after 5 years of doing this in a few months, I'm so grateful to people that have been sponsors over the years. I'm so grateful to people that have been guests, especially ones that have not just been guests once, but guys that have been return guests, such as Keith Flores, HVAC God, Matt, the HVAC Doctor, HVAC J, HVAC Foodie, my buddy Jason Holt, who is still holding it down as the most listened to voice on episodes to this day. It is insane the amount of reads that the Ain't No Rest for the Wicked episodes have gotten. 3 of those are fantastic if you've never listened to them. And Jason is still a good friend to this day. I need to have him back on. He needs a show with 3 digits in the number. He had 3 in the double digits, so it's about time for him to come back. And then also, I'm excited that Kristen is going to continue to become more involved. Little Miss Trade Wife. She's going to be doing some takeovers eventually. She's going to be doing some shows on her own. But we'll talk about some more of that stuff on her and I's episode that we do here in the next couple of days so that it can come out next week. Wrapping this up, at the end of the day, AHR isn't about what you saw. It's about who you met, what you learned, and how you come back better, and how you go back into your location and your individual trade crew communities and your job, and how are you better and how can you continue to build things. I want to see all of us collectively continue to help build our trade up together. Please help build the trade crew together. And we do that with conversations, with podcasts, with writing, with positive content. This industry's in some damn good hands, and I'm proud to be a part of it. So until next time, trade crew, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for starting to read more. Thank you so much for engaging more. And I really appreciate all of you. Ramble on, everybody. Trade crew, thank you for listening. If you got value out of this episode, please make sure you like, follow, or subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. Leave me a review, drop me a comment, share the episode with your team or your apprentice or anyone in your trade crew. That's how we keep this movement going. Please follow the show on Instagram at hvac.rnd and on LinkedIn and Facebook as the HVAC R&D Podcast. Again, thank you to our sponsors, LiveSwitch, JPL, Diversitech, RLS Rapid Locking System, True Nature Meats, and our newest sponsors, Resideo and Mann+Hummel. Until next time, keep charging for change, keep building better, and keep choosing collaboration over competition. Ramblin Rhyno out. Peace, y'all.